Hospice doesn't pay for that. Is that something you hear a lot or something you tell your patients a lot? Hey y'all, I'm Shelly. I do tips for hospice nurses. Today I'm talking about hospice covered medications specifically. There is a lot of confusion around how this works, so I'm going to break it down for you today. So hospice is paid a daily rate for every single patient on service. That rate varies according to geographical location and where the patient is in their time on hospice, but it averages about $165 a day. Per day. So if you have a patient on hospice for a full month, and that month there was 31 days in that month, that's $5,115 that hospice is paid for that one patient. So you just take that number times your census, and that's how much money your hospice is paid every month for the patients. So out of that money, hospice is required to pay for all the medications related to the hospice diagnosis and all medications related to the palliation of symptoms. This is a requirement by Medicare. They do not say only the medications on the hospice's formulary or only medications that are affordable. All the medications related to the hospice diagnosis and related to the palliation of symptoms. Companies are required to pay. So when we say hospice doesn't cover that, that's not accurate. So saying hospice doesn't cover that is an inaccurate statement because hospice does cover it. They should pay for all of the medications. Now, I know there are times that we will use a more affordable form of a medication. Specifically, if we're doing COPD patients, we see a lot of patients come on with these very expensive inhalers. We switch them over to duonabs, and the duonabs work just as good. So we definitely want to do that. We want to be good stewards of our company's resources, but not at the expense of the patient. There have been times where I've had patients where the duonabs did not work as good as the inhalers they were on. I talked to the hospice doctor, and we put the patient back on the medication that was providing the best palliation of their symptoms. And that is what we're required to do. So I know if you're a hospice leader right now, you're probably like gritting your teeth and wishing I would quit talking because you have a budget you have to meet. And I get it. Believe me, I understand budgets. But I had this really interesting thing occur. I was in a patient's home, and now I don't work for a hospice company. I'm an Amity nurse, so I work for lots of hospice companies in my town. And I was working for one of our clients. I was in a patient home, and CMS called the caregiver while I was in the home. Called the caregiver, asked the caregiver why the patient's inhaler was discontinued, and was this the choice of the patient, or were they told by hospice they had to discontinue this medication? So y'all, I have never seen this before, never heard of this before. I don't know any more details. I don't know how Medicare knew any of that. I did let the hospice company know that phone call occurred, but that's just something to be aware of. So this is really on the radar for CMS. We have got to pay for the medications that are related to the hospice diagnosis and the palliation of symptoms without fail, doing whatever is best for the patients. And I have found, in 24 years of being a hospice nurse, I can tell you with certainty that when we meet our patients' needs exactly as they are, it always evens out. You're going to have that one patient who requires a ton of resources. But for every one of those patients you have, you're going to have 10 patients that don't require a lot of resources. And so it just equals out. So if we treat our patients according to what their needs are and not according to what our budget is, you're going to find it's going to work well. And you're going to get a great reputation in the community. Your census is going to grow, and everybody's going to be happy. So I hope this tip was helpful. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on it. If you agree or disagree with me, let me know. And y'all remember, if we work together, we can change our world. And I love you guys.